Imagine a moment, a single word, a sudden event that shatters your calm and drags you into a whirlwind of impulsive reactions and deep regret. We've all been there, caught like puppets tangled in the strings of our own emotions, reacting before we even think. But what if I told you there's a timeless power hidden for centuries within the wisdom of Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius that can break these chains? This video dives deep into mastering your emotions, not by denying them, but by harnessing them with fierce clarity and calm. Here, the true strength isn't in controlling the chaos around us. That's impossible. But in mastering the storm within. The greatest victory begins with a pause, a moment to step back, observe, and choose how to respond rather than react. This shift transforms us into conscious observers instead of emotional marionettes. Accepting the limits of our control is the first bold step toward freedom, releasing us from pointless frustration and suffering. Emotions are not the enemy. When wielded wisely, they become powerful tools fueling purposeful action. Through emotional distancing, we gain the clarity to see situations as they are, without distortion or overwhelm. This is how we reclaim our power to respond with wisdom, not reflex. And it doesn't end there. We must feed our minds daily with calm and reflection, training ourselves to feel emotions consciously, not viciously. Stoicism doesn't demand a cold heart. It invites us into a serene, grounded existence, even when the world around us descends into chaos. By embracing this ancient art of emotional mastery, we step into a life lived with calm strength, resilient peace, and profound self-awareness. Are you ready to unlock your Stoic power and transform your inner world forever? If this is making sense to you so far, please take a moment to like the video and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Your engagement helps this ancient wisdom reach more minds seeking calm in a turbulent world. We've established that true strength isn't in stifling our emotions, but in mastering them. We've talked about the crucial pause, the moment where we step back from the immediate surge of feeling to choose our response. But how exactly do we cultivate this pause? How do we build that space between stimulus and reaction, not just theoretically, but in the heat of a moment? Art of the pause, from theory to practice. This isn't about magical thinking. It's about deliberate, consistent practice. The Stoics understood that our minds, left unchecked, are like wild horses. They need training, gentle guidance, and clear boundaries. When a challenging impression hits, that infuriating email, the sharp comment, the unexpected setback, our primal instinct is to react. The pause is our conscious intervention. One of the most powerful modern tools that mirrors Stoic attention, or prosoche, is mindfulness. It's not about emptying your mind, but about observing it. When an emotion threatens to overwhelm you, you don't fight it. You simply notice it. Imagine you're watching clouds drift across the sky. They appear, they shift, they pass. Your thoughts, your feelings are like those clouds. You don't try to grasp them, to change their shape, or to make them disappear. You simply observe their presence. In practice, this means acknowledging the physiological sensations of an emotion. Feel your heart race? Notice it. Jaw clench? Feel that tension. Stomach churn? Acknowledge the sensation. Don't label it good or bad. Don't judge yourself for feeling it. Just observe. This simple act creates a crucial distance. It allows you to say, I am feeling anger, instead of, I am anger. This distinction is everything. It reclaims your agency. You can practice this in small moments throughout your day. Before responding to a text, pause. Before reacting to a minor annoyance, take a breath. These micro-pauses accumulate, strengthening your mental muscle. Think of it as mental journaling in real time. What am I feeling? What thought just triggered it? Is this thought accurate? Is it helpful? This brief inquiry, even if only a few seconds long, delays the automatic, often regrettable reaction and opens the door for a reasoned, intentional response. This concept ties beautifully into what modern psychology calls cognitive diffusion, separating yourself from your thoughts and emotions, seeing them as mental events rather than ultimate truths. Your thoughts are not you. Your emotions are not you. They are phenomena occurring within you. By defusing from them, by creating that pause, you regain control over your internal narrative and consequently your actions. This isn't a denial of what you feel, but an informed observation of it, allowing you to move forward with clarity, not impulsivity. Premeditation of adversity, premeditatio malorum, proactive emotional resilience. Now, what if we could prepare for these emotional challenges before they strike? This brings us to one of Stoicism's most powerful and often misunderstood practices, premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of adversity. This isn't about being a pessimist or catastrophizing. It's about being a realist, a strategist of the soul. The Stoics encouraged us to regularly contemplate the possibility of undesirable events, losing a job, experiencing a betrayal, facing an illness, encountering an argument, or simply having our plans disrupted. Why would anyone willingly invite such thoughts? Because, as Seneca explained, he robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming in advance. Think about it. Most of our emotional distress comes not from the event itself, but from its unexpectedness, the shock of it, the feeling of being caught off guard. When something goes wrong, our minds often spiral into, why me? Or this shouldn't be happening. This internal resistance amplifies our suffering. By regularly, even for a few minutes each day, considering potential setbacks, we inoculate ourselves against their emotional impact. This doesn't mean we want bad things to happen. It means we acknowledge that they can happen. If you anticipate a challenging conversation with a colleague, you can mentally rehearse how you might respond calmly and rationally, rather than being swept away by anger or frustration in the moment. If you consider the possibility of your carefully planned project going awry, you can mentally prepare for contingency plans rather than collapsing into despair. This practice transforms fear into preparation. It allows us to view potential challenges not as catastrophes, but as opportunities for virtue, opportunities to practice patience, courage, temperance, or justice. When you've already considered how you would respond virtuously to a difficult situation, you're far less likely to be surprised and derailed by your own impulsive emotions when it actually occurs. Modern life is full of unexpected twists, a sudden change in career trajectory, a global crisis, a personal health scare. Premeditatio malorum doesn't make these events less real, but it makes them less emotionally overwhelming. It builds a mental fortress, not of denial, but of resilient acceptance. It trains you to pivot, to adapt, to find your footing instead of being knocked flat. It prevents that spiral of regret that often follows impulsive, unprepared emotional reactions. You transform from a passive recipient of fate to an active participant in how you meet it. Deepening the dichotomy of control, true freedom. The concept of the dichotomy of control is foundational to Stoicism, and we touched on it earlier. But its depth and implications for emotional freedom deserve a closer look. The Stoics teach us that some things are within our control and others are not. Our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, these are ours. Everything else, our bodies, possessions, reputation, external events, other people's opinions, these are outside our control. Sounds simple, right? Yet it's arguably the hardest truth to fully internalize and live by. We spend an inordinate amount of our emotional energy trying to control the uncontrollable. We worry endlessly about what others think of us, about economic forecasts, about what the weather will be, about past mistakes that cannot be undone, or future events that haven't happened yet. This ceaseless striving to control the external is a primary source of our anxiety, frustration, and suffering. True emotional liberation begins when we truly, deeply accept this boundary. When you encounter a traffic jam, you cannot control the flow of cars, but you can control your judgment of the situation, whether you see it as an infuriating waste of time or an unexpected opportunity for quiet reflection. When someone speaks ill of you, you cannot control their words or their opinion, but you can control your response, whether you let it wound you, or you recognize it as an external event that holds no power over your inner peace. This isn't passive resignation, it's strategic focus. It directs our precious mental and emotional resources toward the only place they can truly make a difference, our own inner world. By meticulously focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our character, our efforts, we divest ourselves of the pointless frustration that comes from grappling with the unchangeable. Consider the trap of external validation. Many of us unwittingly hand over our emotional well-being to others. Our happiness becomes dependent on likes, compliments, approval, or specific outcomes. When these external conditions aren't met, our emotional stability crumbles. The dichotomy of control breaks this cycle. It reminds us that our worth, our virtue, our inner calm are entirely internal. They cannot be given or taken away by external circumstances or other people. This isn't indifference, it's self-possession. It's the realization that your true value resides in your character, in your choices, in your responses, and those are always unequivocally in your control. This realization brings an unparalleled sense of emotional power and freedom. The virtue compass, guiding our emotional responses. Emotional mastery isn't just about stopping negative reactions. It's about cultivating positive, constructive ones. For the Stoics, this was inseparable from living a life of virtue. The four cardinal virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, serve as an infallible compass, guiding not only our actions, but profoundly shaping our emotional landscape. They show us how to feel and how to respond in a way that aligns with our highest self. Let's explore each. Wisdom, phronesis. This isn't just intelligence, it's practical wisdom, the ability to discern what is truly good, bad, or indifferent. It's the capacity for correct judgment when an impression arises, an insult, a perceived injustice, a tempting distraction. Wisdom steps in. It asks, is this truly an evil? Is my initial emotional reaction proportional to the reality of the situation? Does this truly concern my virtue? Wisdom helps us distinguish between a momentary annoyance and a genuine threat, preventing us from reacting emotionally to things that ultimately don't matter. It helps us see situations as they are, stripped of our biased interpretations and emotional distortions. For example, when you feel intense anger after being cut off in traffic, wisdom asks, is this truly a catastrophe that warrants such fury? Is this person's momentary carelessness something that diminishes my character or my peace? The answer, almost always, is no. Wisdom guides us to assess impressions accurately, preventing the proliferation of unnecessary negative emotions. Courage, Andrea, often mistaken for fearlessness. Stoic courage is about facing difficulty, uncertainty, and discomfort for the sake of what is right. It's the bravery to endure hardship, to speak truth, to stand up for your principles, and to confront your own difficult emotions. When you feel fear, anxiety, or despair, courage isn't about denying these feelings. It's about feeling them and acting anyway, acting in accordance with reason and virtue. It's the courage to sit with discomfort without immediately seeking an escape. The courage to acknowledge your own emotional vulnerabilities without shame. And the courage to make a difficult but right choice, even if it brings temporary emotional pain. Imagine the courage it takes to have a difficult conversation, knowing it will be uncomfortable, but understanding it is necessary for justice or truth. This courage isn't the absence of fear, but the triumph of reason and purpose over it. Justice, dikaiosine. This virtue compels us to act fairly, kindly, and with integrity towards others, recognizing our shared humanity. From an emotional perspective, justice helps us regulate feelings of resentment, anger, and envy. It urges us to consider the perspective of others, to extend compassion, and to avoid prejudice. When you feel a surge of anger towards someone, justice prompts you to pause and consider their circumstances, their intentions, or the broader context. It reminds you that all humans err. It tempers vengeful impulses and promotes understanding. Practicing justice in our emotional responses means choosing compassion over condemnation, seeking understanding over judgment, and acting with fairness even when provoked. It fosters inner peace by harmonizing our relationships with others, reducing the emotional friction that arises from conflict and grievance. Temperance, sophrosiny. This is the virtue of moderation, self-control, and balance. It's about exercising restraint in all things, in our desires, our appetites, and, crucially, our emotional reactions. Temperance teaches us not to be swept away by pleasure or pain, not to indulge in excessive anger or unchecked joy, but to maintain a steady, calm demeanor. When you experience intense pleasure, temperance ensures you don't become overly attached or dependent on it, preventing the emotional crash when it inevitably passes. When you face adversity, temperance helps you avoid spiraling into despair or self-pity, encouraging a balanced and measured response. It's the self-discipline to avoid emotional overreactions, to pause before speaking in anger, to moderate your consumption, and to keep your desires within reasonable bounds. Temperance leads to a profound sense of inner equilibrium, protecting us from the volatile swings of extreme emotion. By using these four virtues as our emotional compass, we move beyond simply controlling emotions to guiding them. Our responses become purposeful, ethical, and aligned with our highest values. We transcend the role of emotional marionettes and become conscious architects of our inner world, capable of acting with profound wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, regardless of external circumstances. This is how emotional mastery leads to purposeful action, free from the slavery of our passions. Building your inner citadel, an unshakable core. Imagine for a moment a fortress, impenetrable and serene, standing firm amidst the fiercest storms. This is the inner citadel that Marcus Aurelius spoke of, a metaphor for the unshakable inner core we build through consistent Stoic practice. It's not a physical place, but a state of mind, a sanctuary where our reason and virtue reign supreme, untouched by the chaos of the external world. This inner citadel isn't gifted to us. It's constructed, brick by brick, through the diligent application of the principles we've discussed: the art of the pause, the premeditation of adversity, the unwavering adherence to the dichotomy of control, and the guidance of the virtues. Every time you choose a reasoned response over an impulsive reaction, you lay a brick. Every time you calmly accept what you cannot change, you strengthen its walls. Every time you act with courage or justice, you reinforce its foundations. In the modern world, where information overload, constant demands, and relentless uncertainty threaten to erode our peace, the inner citadel becomes our indispensable refuge. It's where you retreat when the world outside becomes too loud, too demanding, too tempting, or too frightening. It is your private kingdom of reason, where you can assess, reflect, and choose your response from a place of strength, not fear or desperation. This citadel provides long-term emotional stability. It doesn't eliminate external problems, but it changes your relationship to them. The storm still rages outside, but you are safe within, able to observe its fury without being consumed by it. This is the promise of Stoicism, not a life free of trouble, but a life lived with resilient peace, groundedness, and profound self-awareness, no matter the circumstances. Building this citadel is an ongoing process, not a destination. It requires constant vigilance, continuous self-assessment, and a renewed commitment each day. But the reward is an unparalleled sense of inner peace and freedom, a calm strength that radiates from within and transforms your entire experience of life. The daily practice, fueling the inner fire, all this wisdom, all these tools remain theoretical until they are put into daily practice. Stoicism is a philosophy of action, a way of life, not just a set of intellectual concepts. To truly master your emotions and build that inner citadel, you must actively fuel your inner fire. Morning routine, setting intentions. Start your day not by immediately checking your phone, but by setting your intentions. Ask yourself, what challenges might I face today? How will I respond with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance? Remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. What is truly in your power today? This mental preparation acts as a shield, arming you against the unexpected emotional attacks of the day. Marcus Aurelius famously reminded himself each morning, "You are going to meet ingrates, aggressors, perfidious, envious, unsocial people." This isn't cynicism, but premeditation, preparing his mind to respond virtuously. End your day with honest self-reflection. Where did you excel in emotional mastery? Where did you fall short? Ask yourself, what impression tried to pull me off course? How did I react? How could I have responded more virtuously? Journaling is an incredibly powerful tool here. Writing down your thoughts and emotions externalizes them, allowing you to examine them objectively, learn from your experiences, and reinforce the lessons of the day. This consistent self-assessment is how we refine our character and strengthen our emotional resilience. Mindfulness throughout the day, micro pauses. Integrate the pause into your daily rhythm. When you feel a surge of emotion, frustration while waiting, irritation at a comment, excitement over good news, take a conscious breath. Notice the sensation. Ask yourself, what is within my control here? These micropauses prevent emotional spirals and bring you back to the present moment, allowing for a deliberate choice. Engage with Stoic texts. Continue to feed your mind with the wisdom of the Stoics. Read Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius. Their words are not relics of the past. They are living teachings that continue to offer profound guidance. Reflect on their insights, discuss them with others, and internalize their lessons. This continuous engagement keeps the philosophy alive within you. This daily practice isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up consistently to train your mind and cultivate your character. Each conscious choice, each moment of reflection, reinforces the pathways of wisdom and strengthens your capacity for calm, clear, and purposeful action. Conclusion. We began this journey by acknowledging that moment of regret, that feeling of being a puppet to our own emotions. The Stoics offer us a different path, one of fierce clarity, calm strength, and profound self-awareness. They don't promise a life free of emotions, but a life where you are the master of your emotional responses, not their slave. Remember Seneca's timeless wisdom. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all well invested. And a vast portion of that waste comes from succumbing to unexamined emotions, to reacting impulsively rather than responding thoughtfully. The greatest victory isn't found in controlling the external world, but in mastering the storm within. It begins with a pause, evolves through proactive preparation, deepens with the understanding of what is truly within your control, and is guided by the unwavering compass of virtue. It is forged in the daily practices that build your unshakable inner citadel. Are you ready to stop being merely swept along by the currents of feeling, and instead navigate your life with intention and unwavering calm? Are you prepared to reclaim your power, not over others, but over yourself? This isn't just philosophy. It's a blueprint for a life lived with extraordinary strength, peace, and freedom. The choice, as always, is yours. If this video has resonated with you, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel for more insights into ancient wisdom for modern life. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. What's one Stoic practice you plan to integrate into your daily life to cultivate emotional mastery? Your reflections not only help you, but also enrich our growing community.